Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tell Me Why, a short, sharp podcast for busy Beatles people in the know or busy Beatles people who want to be in the know. I'm Jude Sutherland Kessler, your host. I'm the author of the John Lennon series. I'll hold up a very tattered volume one, should have been there, which tells the story of the early Beatles, which we will be discussing today. Have it bookmarked to a special page that concerns our guest this evening because it tells the story of that wonderful summer of 1959 when John and Cynthia and Stu assisted. Well, Stu and Cynthia assisted. John kind of blundered his way through helping Mona Best in the painting and the grit work of getting ready to open the Casbah Club, which was going to be a teen club, coffee club in the basement of her home at 8 Hayman's Green. And they were doing this, well, maybe Cynthia was doing it for altruistic reasons. Maybe Stu was doing it for altruistic reasons, but John was doing it because he was very much in hopes that his shabby little band, the Quarrymen, would get to be the live entertainment on opening night on the 29th of August, Saturday night in 1959. And they did indeed get to do that. So if you talk about the beginnings of the Beatles, the real beginnings of the Beatles, that's where it all started, in the Casbah Club. And my guest this evening was received a telephone call in 1994, I believe, my second trip to Liverpool to do research for these books, from Eddie Porter at Cavern City Tours. And Eddie asked him if he would mind showing us the Casbah Club. Well, at that time, it was unused. It was cold. It hadn't been fixed up, redecorated, not anything. So fast forward a few years to, I believe, 2019, and I got to meet the special person again because he, true son of Mona Best, true entrepreneurial blood running in his veins, was opening the Liverpool Beatles Museum in Mathew Street. And he came on to my podcast with Lena Stagg called She Said, She Said. I don't think we've quit smiling since then. Well, now, as if he didn't have enough to do, he started a new enterprise with his brother Pete. And by now, I'm sure you figured out who this is. And they have redecorated and reopened the Casbah Coffee Club Suites. I am thrilled to have on the show a very roguish and a very smart and wonderful friend, Mr. Roag Best. Roag, welcome to Tell Me Why.
Hi, Jude. It's lovely to be on the show. And as you said, it's been quite some time, but it's nice to hook up again. It's always nice to hook up.
Well, it is. And I follow you on social media, and there's so many days when you're having a down day and you're thinking, oh, woe is me. And then I read what you posted for the day, and it is always uplifting and it always makes me smile. You have such a good outlook on life.
Oh, thank you so much for that. That's very, very kind. Yeah, I have, life brings enough problems, so I'm not someone that likes highlighting them. And if you tell someone your problems, as we all have in the past, you see them slowly, their eyes glaze over. They've switched off. You've totally lost them. So I learned very, very early on: just don't bother. Just get on with it. Just get on with it.
I like that. Let's get on with it. So, this venture that you started in 2019, the Liverpool Beatles Museum, is unbelievable because it's in Mathew Street, very, very close to the Cavern Club. I don't know if Flanagan's Apple still in
Yeah,
Mathew?
Flanagan's is still there on the other side of the road. Yeah.
Love that place. Love it. Well, and you not only have hundreds and hundreds of artifacts within the building, but you have thousands in a warehouse. You also have thousands more. So you switch those in and out. You have events, you have speakers, you have all kinds of things going on. That's a lot. So tell me why you decided to go in with Pete on this venture of redecorating, renovating, and opening the Casbah Coffee Club Suites.
Well, it was really a case of what do we do next? Over a period of time, we started off playing together with the band, touring together. Then from that, we wrote a book together, The Beatles: The True Beginnings. Then we did a documentary together, which we're very happy we sold that to 149 countries. And then we've had numerous film deals. Film hasn't been made yet. So it always gets to the point where we start sitting down with script writers and we don't like what they've written. And then we come to a halt, but I'm sure we'll get there in the end. There's someone that's got to see it the same way. They just keep trying to bubble gum it, and that period of time, 60, 62, the Beatles most definitely weren't a bubblegum band. It was hard, considered to be hard rock. Their look was a rock look, and they were young men getting up to the antics of young men. And I've always felt that if you're going to tell that story, well, then tell it, and tell it how it was. It might not be what Beatles fans as a whole recognize or think that time is, but guys, if we're going to do it the way it was. Show it how it was. Show how tough it was. Show how tough you boys were to handle those situations. Then from then it was as you mentioned, the Casbah Coffee Club. Then it was the Liverpool Beatles Museum, and then I'm sitting there thinking, okay, where do we go now? Where do we go now? And the natural one seemed to be, the house above the Casbah, big Victorian mansion. The boys, as you know, formed at the Casbah. They played at the Casbah, and they partied in the house. They ate at the house, and they slept over at the house on numerous occasions. And we thought, right, well, the natural progression is ground floor upwards to make it a hotel, an Airbnb. And 5 suites, they're large suites, they're really large suites, the big rooms, 5 suites. There's the Lennon suite, McCartney suite, Harrison suite, Sutcliffe suite, the best suite. And as someone said to me, oh, it's been said on 2 occasions with that sort of like chuckle, we see that there isn't a Ringo Starr suite. And I go, no, you're getting that totally wrong. Ringo has not been excluded from this property due to circumstances in the past. With everything we do, we try to keep it as authentic as we possibly can, as original as we possibly can. And the reason the 5 suites are the 5 original Beatles is simply because they actually slept at the property. Ringo played at the Casbah. He did attend the parties. Our mother Mona had 5 favorite groups that were allowed to attend the parties. The Beatles were one, of course. Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, because she liked Johnny Guitar. Derry and the Seniors, because she liked Derry. The Big Three, because she liked Johnny Gustafson, the bass player. And the Remo Four, because she liked Harry Pritherick. But outside those 5 groups, nobody got to the parties. Within those 5 groups, the only group that were allowed to stay over were the Beatles, which was John, Paul, George, Stu, and Pete. That's why the suites basically give a nod to those 5. If Ringo had stayed the night, there'd be a Ringo suite. But what we're saying is these guys slept here, which they did. Ringo never did. And we wouldn't like to mislead people.
No, I think that's just so right, because you're depicting that era, that time frame, the people who were there, and you have. So walk us through the house. When we come in, do you have kitchens that people can use? Do you have live entertainment at the weekends? Tell us what to expect if we were coming to stay for a week.
Well, every suite is a self-contained suite. So you're getting your bedroom, your bathroom or shower room, and a kitchen. Some of the suites also have a living room as well. On the ground floor, there's a communal space if guests want to mix and sit together and watch TV. So as I said, it's all self-contained, and they're very, very large rooms. The people who have stayed so far have been surprised when they've walked in. It's like, oh my God, it's huge. It's huge, and yeah, the rooms are huge. It's a huge house. And with regards to entertainment, there's no entertainment there anymore as such. The Casbah Coffee Club, of course, sits underneath it. There's tours there every day, guided tours through the Casbah. But we stopped live entertainment August of 23. We used to do an annual event there, Best Fest, which was Pete's his annual Liverpool show. Always sold out the moment we announced it. But we put 4 or 5 groups on. The live music would go to about 2 in the morning, and then, i.e., the patrons who had attended would be, okay, guys, it's all over, and they go. But then it'd be one of the few times that the family would all get together, in the year. So of course the door would be closed, and it's party time, and we'd be there till 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's been known to even go to 12 noon. And we just thought, I don't think people would appreciate this if they were staying here. A horde of pests staggering around the building, smashed out their minds. So we've stopped the live entertainment. We haven't stopped doing live entertainment. We've simply moved the venue underneath the Liverpool Beatles Museum on Mathew Street. We have a venue space underneath there, which can be hired for events, etc., etc. But our events, they take place there. So this year, 2024, Pete played 2 nights in the event space. So we're still doing a lot of live stuff, but we're not doing it at the Casbah Coffee Club. 1, because of guests in the house, but 2, because of the artwork that's there. You've got, as you touched upon, you've got one ceiling that John painted, you've got a ceiling that Paul painted, a ceiling that George painted, the star ceiling in the bar, John, Paul, George, Pete, and Stu, and Ken Brown did the stars in there. And it's all worth a small fortune. So we didn't think, because of the value of the Casbah, that was also a deciding factor that we shouldn't do the live shows there anymore. It's just becoming, it's, I don't know, not putting in the same category as Queen Elizabeth's tiara, but I'm sure she wouldn't be wearing her tiara for a rave.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's better than the tiara, is what I have to say. So I know that people need to get reservations far in advance. Mm-hmm. So tell us how far in advance, like if people are thinking of coming in March when the daffs are blooming, when do they need to reserve, and how can they go about reserving a room?
Well, with regards to reserving the room, we're up on Airbnb already. We've just gone live on Expedia, I believe, yesterday. In fact, one of my phone calls I was going to do today was to say, have we gone live on Expedia? So we should be on Expedia. And then within the next week or 2, we'll also be on booking.com. So they're the 3 forums where people will be able to find us: Airbnb, Expedia, and booking.com. With regards to booking ahead, people tend to anyway. Yourself, if you're going away, I'm looking at I'm looking at doing a few things next year because I like going on vacation. So because it's the only time that I actually stop, and I stop because I can't access anything, so I can't work, so I have to stop. But I'll be looking at that, end of this month, November. I'll be looking at where I'm booking, where I'm staying for next year. And I think that's what people tend to do. They're looking, they start looking at next year at the back end of this year. You've always got your last minuters, your stragglers. So you can always try us as a last minuter, a straggler. And if we can accommodate you, we'd love to. But I'd book early. How cliched is that expression? But book early.
Well, I will put the link for Airbnb right here. And when the show is engineered, you should be seeing it right there. So, are you already booked for Beatles Week next year?
Bookings have started to come in. A couple of bookings have come in for Beatles Week next year. Beatles Week this year, and don't forget, we only opened on the 21st of August. And we were surprised because Beatle Week, we opened on the Wednesday and Beatle Week started on the Friday. And it literally, Thursday, this whole massive bookings hit. And, we were basically sold out the whole of Beatle Week within 24 hours of announcing that we were open. So, and we didn't expect that. We didn't expect that. We thought people attending Beatles Week hotels would have been booked, everything would have been in place already. But it turns out that no, a lot of them had really left it to the last minute. So, which worked out very nice for us.
I am so glad. Well, I cannot wait to get back to Liverpool again. And I said to my husband the other night, I said, I know everybody expects me to stay in the John Lennon room, but I kind of love Stu Sutcliffe. And he goes, are you crazy? We'll go by and throw kisses at the Stu Sutcliffe room, but you are definitely staying in the room. So see, we're already fighting over it,
Okay.
Well, we are a very short podcast because people really don't have a lot of time to invest, and I want them to
Okay.
listen for 20 minutes, learn about the Casbah Coffee Club suites, see your link, and get a room. So, what's the one thing we haven't told them that you want them to know?
Oh, the one thing I haven't told them that they want them to know. Well, if you're a Beatles fan, it doesn't get any better. You're gonna stay. You're gonna stay where they stayed, above where they started. Hey, it doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. Their footsteps and handprints and the echoes of their voices are all over the Casbah Coffee Club suites. So you've
Very
got.
much so.
We always close every show, Roag, by asking people to give us their favorite John Lennon quote. But today I wanted to do something a little special. And I wanted to ask you because I am a huge fan of Mona Best. I mean, she is such a role model for me because she was a hard worker, which I tried to be. She was a visionary. She, like you, never stopped thinking, what's the next thing? Well, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. What's the next thing? And she always pressed forward. And so, is there a quote from your mom that you could share?
A quote from my mum that I could share. My mum would say to us, there's a lot of quotes actually. My mum used to say to us, shoot for the stars. If you fall short, you'll still end up with the moon.
I love it. I really love it. I can totally see that. Well, you have the stars and the moon because you are busy not only where you are at the Casbah Coffee Club Suites, but also with the Liverpool Beatles Museum. And I'd like to invite you right now to come back again soon and let's talk about the Liverpool Beatles Museum and what'll
That'll
be.
be my pleasure.
That will be great. Well, thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining Roag and me for this podcast that kind of lets you know about the place you want to stay the next time you go to Liverpool. And hey, if you're not going to Liverpool, it's still in convenient driving distance from Chester. Lots of places in the Merseyside area. That's the place for you to stay. Thank you very, very much, Roag, for being
Oh,
here.
thank you, Jude.
And congratulations to Leanne on her play on Broadway that is sold out, I believe, for the next 12 weeks and just got a fabulous rating. So,
Well, we're all flying out. The family's flying out en masse sometime in November because she's just announced that she's going to get married and she's doing it in New York.
that is fantabulous. Well, if you want to take a side trip to Louisiana, you're welcome here.
Okay,
We'll have gumbo.
sounds good. I love gumbo.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, try and shine on.